Hello everybody, and welcome back once again to emmavoid's Let's Play of Last Word. So, last we left off, we had talked the General out of confronting Professor Chatters, because really, it's a bad idea. That guy's way too high a level. Don't even try, really. But also, I think it was last time, maybe the time before, we noticed that the collar that we got from the kitty with the word on it is starting to crumble, and so I'm probably going to try to avoid using that immunity for a while, just in case, you know. But yeah, and we've got, let's see. Oh yeah, I picked up the last level of wine tasting, because why not? Other than that, and the word, we don't have very much to talk to anybody about. Okay. But we can still check in and chatter with everybody. My son was a good boy. I knew he wasn't cut out for the armed forces, but that's what our house is known for. What's going to happen now that Private Prattle is AWOL? Hopefully nothing, but St. Lauden thrives off on rumors and celebrity details. My son has kept off the radar most of his life, but for how long? We've had at least one Prattle in the military every generation since St. Lauden was formed. We represent faith in the military. My son being gone will send a signal to the nation that the Prattles are losing that military faith. It's not good for us. Any of us. Interesting. Oh yeah, we've got a lot of experience points stored up too. We should actually make use of some of that. The wine is superb, to be quite honest. Considering that we're being forced to drink, the professor could have chosen much worse. I mean, yeah, okay.
Hey.
Missin' boy, they bottle wine, yes? Or just soda pop? I'm not a fan of soft drinks, but it's good to diversify. If you ever bump elbows with the man in charge, you should talk to him about brewing his own wine. That's where the money is. Alright, dude, whatever. You got anything posting? There's a bottle of mysterious wine nestled beside that armchair. The label is like nothing I've ever seen. Not only did it say nothing about wine, but it told me how many ascots I have. Wait, what? Okay. Whatever. Anyhow. I know quite a bit about melons, and for good reason. Most melons make representation in the wines of St. Lauden. Oh, we've got that unlocked. Care to give me a crash course? I'm interested in which wines are made from which melons. I'd love to explain, Miss Gorship. Your basic Appleton is made from canary melons. St. Remy uses honeydew the most, which is why we call it a jade wine. The Harvingdale Red gets its red hue from Alvaros, and the Brittany Rose is a rose because of the sweet sugar melons it uses. Quite nice. Toffels are typically sparkling wines made from Piel de Sapo. The Florentine Blanc is a white wine made from white flesh Gallia melons grown in Italy. The Ocant Snow is also a white wine, but it's made from Chinese Hami melons grown in the Americas. And finally, the rare and wonderful Opal Carlin is made from delicious watermelon. Oh. Alright, dude. You can ramble about that, I guess. Whatever. You know, there was a time when my sister and I were going to take up an advertising deal with Miss Sinbo. Oof. Level 5 photography. I haven't found any upgrades for photography, and I'm not sure, like, what the deal with that is. Oh! I did not notice this before. Seymour is keeping a journal of the night's events. I doubt he'd leave it out if he didn't want someone to read it. He started the story with Once Upon a Time. This might be a tough read. Once upon a time, I had a special secret that I never told anyone about. I kept it hidden, tucked away beneath the floorboards of my childhood home. Today, I've come back, and the secret is missing. I know I'm not quite cut out for the task, but I'm learning a bit about the world that might help me recover the secret, if it's still here. Interesting. Is Seymour going to write down what this secret is? Don't string me along, Seymour. Maybe I should have brought a glass of wine. You know what I could go for? Some hot cocoa. Yes, that would be pleasant right about now, especially so late in the evening. At least, that's what I was thinking when Mr. McCall thundered in. Master Seymour, we've yet to really talk. What are you doing hiding at the desk? Are you opposed to mingling? Not per se. I just have a preference for the written word. Interesting. I don't meet many writers. I'm not so much a writer as a person who writes. That seems to be a subtle distinction. What exactly differentiates the two? Oh, writers, well, I'm not sure. Maybe there's notoriety to it. If you're published and well known, you're a writer, no matter how you look at it. I have no real interest in publication. My material is more of a thought outlet, if that makes sense. Whatever you say, Master Seymour. Although I'd wager the distinction is less in publicity and more in confidence. That's one way to look at it. You have a passive way of disagreeing. I can't tell if you think I'm right or wrong. Does my opinion have to match or conflict yours? What would it change? In St. Laudon, it changes everything. Oh. Oh. Interesting. Seymour the Great. Alright. This is interesting. Mother would be proud. Interesting. Seymour succeeds. McCall seemed surprised by what I had to say, but not as surprised as I was by myself. Maybe he had a good point about confidence. It was nice to start that fire with a simple victory in conversation. Then, as he left, he smiled at me, as if to say that he understood. Understanding smile. In any case, the practice was welcomed. I needed to uncover my as-of-yet purposefully undisclosed secret treasure. Okay, so this is definitely interesting. I'm glad that I noticed this over here. What level did we have we gotten Seymour up to, anyway? Where is he? Oh hey, right. Where did this bottle come from? It has a lot of weird stuff written in the back. Ah, level 5. Ooh. Oh, there he is.
Hey.
Yeah, he's only level 13, so we're not gonna have very far to go yet. Good luck with the professor. I'm not sure how you'll win, but I know you can do it. Thanks, Seymour. Yeah. For hidden word. You kind of remind me of Mother. I'm going to have to stop you right there. You need to know when to not speak just as much as when to speak. I just mean that whatever power you have is exactly like Mother's. I guess that's obvious. I recognize that force. Good luck figuring out how to use it the same way she did. I suspect there's more to it than just keeping it wrapped around your neck. I ended up mixing the Tofel, Carlin, and Dale together. It made a weird color, but it was much tastier. Nerd. Truth be told, I don't drink as much as I used to. I've been sipping through the night just as the professor commanded, but this is rather rare. When I was a new recruit, the other recruits and I would ferment our own wine in the toilet. It was quite strong, unique aroma. We drank it as comrades. They poked fun at me because I would flush red after a few sips, but it was good-natured bonding. Okay. What is with people in toilet wine? You've been acting awfully strange lately, Gossip. I can't put my finger on it. If I were a believer in hoodoo voodoo, I'd say that even your aura is stronger. Yeah, well, you know. Being in the military has made me resilient. Don't get me wrong, I'm as helpless as you all are right now, but less tired. Interesting. Oh yeah, so... Professor is close to awakening the mouth and ending the evening with a series of questions and commands that will solve the entire issue. I don't think he'll find much. Just because you don't have the talent to question these fools doesn't mean you should hold that standard to the professor and his machine. Oh, Chatter's history. You should figure that out. Have you any clues on where Mrs. Seymour may have hidden the word? I haven't, but still, I'd like another chance to talk to the professor. He said to allow it, so I shall. I am the perfect servant, after all. But be aware that the professor will likely use the mouth again once you exit. If you have any unfinished business, do it now. Are you certain that you're ready? No. I've got other stuff to do. Just as I thought. You know what, dude? Rude. Where did this case come from? There's a massive diamond in it. Alright, so... right now, we needed photography to talk about that with him, and... don't got anything to talk with the judge about. And...
hey.
Okay, let's go look at that journal a bit more then. What else has Seymour been up to tonight? His discourse with Mr. McCall sounded fabricated, but I suppose he could actually be doing well for himself. I had searched around the dining room for any clues about my deceptively nomenclature-free secret special treasure, to no avail. I decided to write about my encounter with Mr. McCall when Mrs. Prattle waltzed in. I was still uncomfortable around her. The Prattles have had a great impact on my life, and yet I had never met Falar before today. My mouth went dry. Summer House isn't as large as I had hoped. I didn't design it. I didn't accuse you of its design. Oh. My heavens, you're a tough nut to crack. Okay. You don't have anything measurable to say? Well, I suppose I know a little about property. Then get on with it. Ooh, goodness. Seymour is very much gonna lose this. Huh. Or at least... oh, because she's already... that's weird. So basically, it started off with a pretty big penalty, but so did she. So I guess it's sort of a puzzle, almost. No. Dang it. And this we needed also level 5, same warehouse. Ah, here we go. This word, what's the name of the legend that discusses it? Does it have a single name, or did the professor say there were many? Now that I think about it more, he never suspected the word would be written on a collar. He kept mentioning something else. What was it? Oh. Okay. I do not have that good of a memory, but thankfully I've been recording this entire time. So, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna go check my records. Okay, so I think I found it. He said it was engraved on a stone. That's right! The professor kept mentioning a stone when he talked about the word. He seemed to understand it could be written on anything, but if I want to find the original legends, I should search the index for stone. Taking a break? I know I'm tired. I suppose I'm a little fatigued, but getting the you-know-what has helped me shake most of that off. Right, that makes sense. Then why are you relaxing at a time like this? I thought you were going to confront the professor. I will, but I got curious. A couple of things the professor said aren't... You can trust me, Witty. Maybe I can help. He said he believed that the word, written on any object, would possess the abilities he sought. But every fable and legend concerning the word always had it connected in some way to a simple stone. That never changes. But you have the word, right? Isn't it written on your collar? That's true, but this collar is leather and metal, not rock. What happened to the stone? Maybe Mother never had it. You think your mother wore this cat's collar every day? I guess not. And your father, he worked in the military museum. I recall hearing that rocks had gone missing. Your mother wore jewelry, right? I see what you're getting to. You think you have a counterfeit? Or at least a functional copy. The professor would be correct in assuming that the word can be written on another object. We could make another copy. Not a bad idea. Let me try. Wait. Alright, time to check the records again. I see. Okay. I think we don't know what the word is. Because when she got it off the kitty cat, it was just sort of, oh, well, this cat has the thing, and it's such a familiar word, but... What the... Is that the word? No, it's not even close. Why did I write that? How should I know? The professor said to hold it is to know it, and to say it is to use it. I can't know the word without holding it, or I'll be affected. Every time I say it, no one seems to notice how special it is. It just works. But I can only use it, not relay or transfer it. Even worse, metal itself seems to crack more with every use. It can't be the original artifact, even if the letters are correct. Wowzers, really? Maybe there can be only one word, or maybe there's some special way to transfer it from one object to another. Who has the original then? What happened to the stone from which the word was taken? Was it destroyed? Is it blank now? Does it really matter? No, not tonight. But what of the future? What if the stone lets me use this indefinitely? What if it grants me more? Interesting. Alright. Well, let's talk about the kitty cat with everybody then. We're being pushed around by an overwhelming pressure to mingle, yes? Please don't make this any worse by talking about these ridiculous animals. Yeah, you're a jerk. Whatever. What happened to that cat's collar? Did McCall take it? Or was it Master Seymour? Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter. The old gal may have pawed it off while lounging on a bookshelf.
Yo.
What do you think of that painting? The secret one of the professor and the pearl-colored cat. Master Seymour says the cat here isn't Hopper. However, the mystery of the cat's identity doesn't really concern me. The whole existence of the portrait is the real curiosity. Vera is famous among the houses for painting panoramic views, and nothing else. Never people, and never cats. If you look around, you'll notice that every picture is by Vera. The Seymours were true lovers of her expertise. Aha! So who commissions this strange piece? Did the Seymours buy a picture of Chatters, or did Chatters use the same artist as the Seymours? Interesting. I would have my own cats if I didn't need to move around so much. Felines make for the best company. Every soldier has her vice, Gossip. You keep saying that, you know. Seymour.
Huh.
I wonder if Miu's neck is cold now. Poor girl. Dork.
Hey.
The landscapes are by the same artist. I can see that. I've always liked them, but I never made the connection. All I know is that my father loved them, and that he frequently purchased them from Boasting House. Mother never cared for them, so if there's a Vera painting in Father's private room, he would have been the one to place it. But he's been gone. Never mind that. My main point is that no one in the Seymour family would have placed that picture. This is part of Chatter's history, I bet. Actually, did you say that the artist's name was Vera? If I'm not too mistaken, Mr. Boasting has a daughter with that name. Ask him.
Hey.
The weirdest part of being back in the summer house estate is that nothing has really changed all that much. The air smells the same, and the bushes are all still being trimmed into elephants. The art on the walls, the furnishings, and what else? I guess there's the servant too. He knows exactly how to upkeep the place. He's been here as long as I can remember. They exchanged all of the books on the shelves at least. And of course, there's a giant mechanical face coming from the study. Alright, so we've got a few things to focus on now. Being in the military has made me resilient. Oh yes, yeah, we don't have that yet. For a thief, General Seymour did seem to have a generous stroke of patriotism. The flag of St. Laurent hangs proudly behind that statue. Even his desk chair is upholstered patriotically. It's unfortunate that a man who shows such pride publicly and privately would succumb to the lesser sin of greed. There we go.
Oh.
The houses are a complex topic. We mostly live and die in St. Laurent without questioning the houses, how they work, or why they are so integral to our government. Much like the royalty of Great Britain, there are valid functions and frivolous traditions, both in a circle I sometimes can't comprehend. The truth of Chatter's house is rather simple. The government needs something from Chatter's, and he demanded a house. I'm not in a position to discuss it, but as you might know, there has to be space for a house before a new one can be established. Chatter's house effectively filled the void left by the fall of Gossip House. Ah. That's interesting. May I be serious for a moment? What's with all these damned elephants? Nerd.
Hey.
Professor Chatters purchased Summer House years ago. It's been quite a while since Mrs. Seymour sold the estate and ran off. But he hasn't been living here all that long. I've heard that he and that servant have been traveling together, chasing legends. Can you imagine them both, exploring the world as a pair, adventuring through jungles and ruins, fighting off tribesmen and jaguars and hippos? My sister, Makan, would love that idea as well. I look forward to the day that we can set off on similar quests. Through all of my digging, I've yet to learn anything substantial about the professor. Maybe because he's a lousy excuse for a man. Really, I haven't heard of a house with so little respect for people and such a lust for control since the former god— Oh, heavens. I do apologize, I'm being insensitive. I suppose it's the professor's knack for engineering that reminds me of, well, you know. The comparison is unfounded, however. You and I may not see perfectly eye to eye, but you're nothing like that power-hungry Chatters. Interesting. The Seymours. Heavens, they are a mess of gossip and treachery. The late General Seymour was a thief, his son a disgrace, and his widowed wife is an adulterer. Gabby and I, that is, Mrs. Seymour and I, often butted heads when we met up. She was stubborn and pompous. She always had to be right. I couldn't stand her company, not even for a moment. I always knew she was trouble. She'd better be treating my son well. So you've heard of Vera's oil painting, or was it you who uncovered it? Either way, she's made another fine picture. When Chatters' servants came to us with a penny and a request, I nearly laughed aloud. Oh, a portrait of Chatters and his cat? Absurd! But Vera seemed to appreciate the challenge, and yet the servant was absolutely clear that we keep every detail private. The gall! Vera and I have kept the professor's past life a secret, as we were told. I'm not sure why, though. Was his former life so different? I have to wonder if there are more private discoveries in other hidden rooms. Ah! Seymour House is rich with land, or was. They own more property than any other house, but property values have plummeted. It's the inevitability of war. It became necessary to adopt the entire southern beachfront last summer. All of that belonged to Master Seymour. Many civilians have been drafted too. Entire plots of land will be neglected until our troops can come back home and return to work. The war has affected us all in many terrible ways, but Seymour House has lost quite a bit more than most, I'd say. With Mrs. Seymour gone, the house penniless, and all of the remaining property under the young master's control, well, the Seymours need more than a miracle to last until we win this war. Oh yeah. A lampshade doll. What do I know about this now? There's a locked drawer beneath this lampshade doll. The lock looks to be of the rotating combination style. What's the code, though? Oof. Since we needed that to find it. No. I'm not quite sure what gets in there then. I'm curious as to whether the professor or his servants have thoroughly inspected the estate. Chatters House has owned the property for years, but they only settled here recently. Do they know every nook and cranny? I'm a bit disappointed by the contents of the professor's secret room, but I'm glad I could help you solve the code. If you find anything else you need help with, I promise to be of more help than before. I'll be more of a gentleman, as Mr. Boasting would. McCall and I had little luck in finding a passage to the professor's study, but it wasn't an entire loss. We discovered a large diamond. I'm not too specialized in artifacts, but my guess is that it's the missing Mancilius diamond from Spain. It went missing many years ago from a history museum that General Seymour may have had access to at the time, if I'm not mistaken. I'll make a report about the diamond when I get back to my post. I don't have the authority to take it from the estate. But if that truly is the Mencillus diamond, the depths of General Sable's thievery was far more severe than I had anticipated. Do you know anything about artifacts that the military was keeping? Maybe something that could work like the mouth? Artifacts that work like the mouth? I've never encountered such a thing. I remember a children's story about a magic stone that could destroy people when a magic word was spoken, but that's hardly fact. You don't think there's a chance that the stone actually existed? Even if I were superstitious, I don't think so. The story ended with the stone being cast into a river amongst millions of other rocks. I'm more likely to encounter a talking dog than find a magic stone that lets me rule over others. Oh yeah, with all that we've been collecting. Oh. You've been here for a while, Echo. What do you think of the place? What? What? I haven't had all that much wine, but maybe it's getting to me. I don't usually talk to cats. No, not at all. Don't have any pets, so I never get a chance to... Blast it, I'm still doing it. Just be a good girl and stay out of the toilet, okay? Some people ferment wine in toilets. It isn't safe for cats. That's very silly. The professor is close to awakening the mouth. Oh yeah, we talked about this. Here we go. What would help me the most is knowing what the professor knows. What has he already unearthed involving the location of the stone? I won't divulge anything he hasn't already, or maybe he could be more specific. The portrait of himself and his cat is suspicious to everyone, and possibly a clue. Why would the Seymour family have it? It's not a clue. That's a gift. He doesn't know it exists, and I'd like you to keep it that way. Aha! I saved a meager sum and asked a famous artist to make it in honor of him and his late pet. It's a subject he never discusses. Very personal. The artist, Vera, is his favorite. I told her about the professor's love of Harper, and she was nice enough to make me a piece for free. I planned to show the amazing professor his gift once the mouth was a success. That's awfully thoughtful. Yes, well, perhaps too thoughtful. No one should know of Harper's importance to the professor, and now everyone does. I hope he sees the portrait as a token of love and not a betrayal of trust. I'll soon know. Huh, interesting. Let's see. Yay! Accomplishment for getting all of them. Nice. Let's see. Talking with Mr. McCall hasn't been very informative. He believes there's another secret room to be found, but that's a bore. Unless... what if I could find some clues as to where my son went? Maybe he left postage or an address. I'd better keep my eyes open. Okay. I'm a little worried about that diamond that just showed up. General Sandhoff said she uncovered it, but why is it here? Will I have to answer to the authorities in the name of my father? This is a serious problem, Witty. How long can I ignore it? Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I wonder if, you know, a diamond is technically a type of stone. Where did this case come from? Is it real? If the Seymour house is out of funds, why didn't Mrs. Seymour sell this? Could this be another piece that General Seymour pilfered? If so, it'd be hard to sell. Better kept hidden, I suppose. This variation looks a bit darker, but it's worth a read. There was once a boy who mumbled to himself almost constantly. It was a tic of sorts, one that caused him much grief. He walked into the woods and searched for forest trinkets with which to decorate his sparse room. He grabbed an assortment of pretty bark and rocks. One of these rocks, no bigger than his thumbprint, would change his future and the lives of many. It had within it the power to kill. The rock itself was not impressive by any standards, but was shiny enough for his interest. He held it in his palm and muttered to himself as he walked. Of the billions of rocks in the world and words in the universe, he said the exact right word while holding the simple rock. 3 passers-by died. The boy attempted to help them, but was unsure what to do. Their hearts had stopped, so he took their money and bought his first shoes. He considered the rock lucky, and for him it was. Through his mumblings, he again said the word and watched as more people fell before him. It was obvious to him that the combination of the rock and the word could kill anyone within earshot, and many died for him to rise in the world. If he yelled the word, the echo would kill fields away. If he whispered it, only the person to whom he whispered fell dead. No one knew how he was killing, for if they were near as he did so, they would hear the word as well. In 10 years' time, he was king. He received a message on the new year stating that his power was fading. By the time you reach me, your power will be gone, the message said, but I can help restore the power if you let me, for I have seen your rare stone. The king was furious, for no one knew of the rock but him. He was led into the woods where he met an old man in a hut. He spoke the word, but the old man would not fall. He yelled the word. Nothing. The old man smiled. I told you, your power has faded. Let me breathe life back into your stone. The king hesitated, but relented. With the rock in his hand, the old man stated that he was a deaf lip reader, and that he had figured out the king's gift after years of sneaking around the castle estate. He had only to gain hold of the rock before he could use it himself. The last word the king heard was the word he himself had uttered too often. His heart stopped. Such small things, the man said to the fallen king, can change the lives of many, but only we can give them power, and only through our words. With that, the old man tossed the rock into the river, where the water rubbed it smooth. Interesting. Alright, I thought the diamond would be something more important. I still got this lampshade doll. I mean, probably not, but I can try it here too, just in case. Nope. Alright, let's see. So this is... Seymour House was the one we needed. Something about Seymour House has the info we need, so let's go back over that with everybody. Maybe Mrs. Seymour's name. Gabby. Let's try that. there's a box in here. It's filled with old coins. I definitely want to unlock these last few entries in Seymour's journal, so... yeah, let's buy that charisma boost. And then we can practice with Seymour a bit more. Alright, we leveled him up a bit, so let's check out his journal again. Military intelligence. How much of this is fiction? I can't help but feel like Seymour is taking a few artistic liberties. Fabricated or not, I'm almost excited to see how he handles the next encounter. Mrs. Prattle opened my eyes to the reality of my inheritance. Maybe she didn't intend to, but I was reminded that I'm quite wealthy in land. And yet I didn't own the most prestigious of the Seymour estates, Summer House. I was here as a guest, and that's a low blow to my name. Still, I knew the property better than anyone, which means that if anyone could find the treasure I seek, it was me. Oh yes, and then General Sandhoff came in. I guess I should write about that. You used to live here, did you not? I did, yes. I grew up here. It's definitely interesting, the way the, portrayal of his anxiety is being shown. Excellent. Maybe you can think of some secret passage into the professor's study. Oh, I, doubt such a passage exists. You doubt? Are you certain? Well, I'm not certain, but I can't say I know much about the secret passages. I recall my father using some, maybe, but none that would help. And even if there was a passage into the study, I was never taught how to access it. And this is no real surprise. What do you mean? You pampered brats are all the same. It's no surprise that you would live here for over 20 years and not know your way around. But don't let me ruin your private time. I'll get some use out of another guest. I may not know my way around, but the master of Seymour House should not stand insinuations of uselessness, right? You have use, then. Prove it. And they both start off pretty over the edge. I'm still very amused that his label in these missions is Seymour the Great. Alright, there we go. Just as I was feeling strong about my position as the master of Seymour House, the general had to try to rain on my parade. But I stepped up to the plate. I defended myself. Moreover, I was able to gather some intelligence. I'm looking for a small mahogany box with a large pachyderm on the clasp. Have you seen one around anywhere? I didn't care much at the time, but I may have spied someone hoisting it around when I first arrived. Success, or something close to it. I used my small window of opportunity to get all the information out of her that I could. The general, upset that I had bested her in conversation, slowly faded into nothingness. What? What? Wait, I'm rambling. I'm not sure what I'm even saying anymore. I guess what I mean is that I had a lot to prove to myself. I was finally ready for the task. My first real goal, then, was to confront my enemy and reclaim my rightful possession. Weird. What level do we need? Level 24. Oh, hey, what's that under your paw? Let me see it. Come now, be a good girl. Oh, you certainly have an attitude. Don't you know you should listen to your human masters? Oh my god, you're kidding me. Mew is level 47. That's... somehow I shouldn't be surprised. But yeah, looks like we're arguing with the cat now. Let's see, what's our best starting move gonna be? Haha! Take that, cat! Oh, I ain't getting experience points for it. Did I win? Just give me the blasted thing. I got it though. I must be going certifiably insane. I'm in a washroom trying to convince a cat to give me a bow tie. Still, I could be worse off, I suppose. I could have no bow tie. You don't think I'm insane, do you, Mew? Who cares what you think? This game is quite silly. But I'm proud that we won. I think. Alright. So, we've got Seymour all the way up to level 24, so let's go ahead and do this last chapter. Alright, one more chapter and I'm done. I'm not sure how much more of this I can take. The discourse with General Sandhoff was too dry, but this next encounter is promising. I wonder who has Seymour's thing. It's gonna be her, isn't it? The time had come. There was only one person in the estate who would know where my special treasure had gone to. I braced myself by eating a peppermint, the soft kind Mother used to buy me, and let the flavor wash down my throat. I took a deep, minty breath and waited for the servant to enter the room. Ah, the servant. Makes sense. You summoned me. I did. I need to know what happened to a particular box I kept in these floorboards. Ah, I see. Do you think that because I cared for the estate that I would have been digging around the floorboards like a hungry rat? That is not what I meant. Is it not? Then what are you asking? Just hand it over. Finders keepers. You've been employed by the Seymours for years. Does that mean nothing to you? It means less than nothing, Master Seymour. The Professor's employment is something that cannot be rivaled, especially by your ilk. I've waited many years to talk back to your family, and now I have the chance. Blah 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 blah. I don't really remember what he was saying. Something silly about never being listened to or some servanty nonsense. What mattered was that he had my treasure. I managed to get him to discourse with me. But I didn't realize that he had been holding back. He may have been a servant, but he had quite the formidable conversation talents. This will be a fine moment for me. Level 32, jeez. Oof. Yeah. I don't think I'm telling this right. Alright, let's see. Might have to try this a few more times over. go. I defeated the evil servant and demanded he give me my heirloom. Between sobs, he did so. He cackled, then exploded into ash. Mwahaha, you haven't seen the last of me. See where this... Finally, I had the treasure my father had passed to me on my 7th birthday. One day I'd give it to my own child, and he or she might hand it down as well. It was a nifty idea, and I couldn't stop smiling about it. I locked it away in a drawer. I made a code no one would guess, my mother's first name. I had stood my ground and reclaimed my lost possession. It would be safe until the professor set us free. Content with my adventure, I flew off into the distant sunrise. Such a nerd. And we already got that. This is Seymour's secret treasure, then. It's not a bad coin collection, although I can't say I know much about this kind of thing. But he finds it important, so I'll leave it. I kind of like the thought of him giving it to his children. It's awkward, but sweet. Alright. Well then, I think that's probably enough for today. So, come back next time. We'll go through and discourse with everybody else, and then finally move on to the new master of the house. So, thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment down below, or even check in the doobly-doo, where you'll find my link to my PayPal, my Patreon, my Tumblr, and my Twitter, in case you want to throw some money my way, or even just say hello. Alright, well, I'll see you all next time. Bye!